Hello and welcome to a pre-modern video, folks. I'm really excited about this video because I've been brewing. I've actually put together this deck list. It was kind of inspired by a conversation going on in the Discord where Rich Shea was saying, well, I think that there's like actually a survival green-black deck or like a survival rock deck. And I had no idea where the conversation was coming from. I think it was talking about Blue-Green Madness. And then Rich said that, and I'm like, I guess that's very possible. What if there's also like a green-white survival deck and a green-red survival deck, since there is already a green-blue survival deck, which is the Madness deck. So I was like, okay, so what can I put together? And I also took a little bit of inspiration from a deck list that Sol Malka gave me, where he was playing basically Jund, which I thought was pretty cool, but like the mana base was like a little bit on the shaky side of things. So I decided to try to go for a little bit of a different spin. And I took a couple of ideas from Sol's deck list where he was playing like a couple of copies of Rootwalla. We're not really a Madness deck, but it's a way to get value from survival, while just like a 1 mana 1/1 just puts a little bit of pressure, right? So this is trying to be a little bit of an aggro deck, but still respecting the constraints of the format, right? So let's go over what the deck is trying to do. Where you're trying to put a survival of fittest in play, and then from there you have like a crazy wild toolbox of things that you can go get. So there's a ton of one-offs that I'm going to be taking care of one by one, but I wanted a very nice and clean mana base, so you see that it's a bunch of basics forests, a bunch of basic mountains. We're playing an allied colored pair, so we actually have access to fetch lands, which only the allied colored pairs have access to in Premodern. A couple of full playsets, of Carpluton Forest, and a couple of copies of Wasteland, and we're going to get about, I'm going to describe the why in a second. I wanted to make sure that I had enough green sources so I can play a 1-drop on turn 1, be it Birds, Rootwalla, or Quirion Ranger. And then from there, I wanted to make sure that I have mostly more green mana than red, because I have more green than red creatures, and also because every extra green source that I have access to, it's a survival activation, right? So I want to make sure that if I do top deck survival in the mid to late game, I have access to like 5 activations in a row or something like that. So that was kind of the idea. So we're starting off with mana creatures. So these are my 1-drops. This is a pretty mana hungry deck, so having access to a bunch of them doesn't hurt. I have no idea what the sweet spot is going to be here. This is my very first draft, and these are going to be my first matches playing this brand new brew, so I have no idea how well it's going to work. Maybe I'm going to want more, maybe I'm going to want less, who knows. But I'm going with 4 Birds of Paradise, 2 Llanowar Elves, and I could be going with a split of Llanowar Elves and Feedhorn Elves, but I was too lazy to make it happen. And also I love the OG Llanowar Elf art, so I wanted to see it more often. That's my justification. We also have access to 1 Quirion Ranger. Quirion Ranger obviously works really well when you're trying to get multiple activations, and it's like it's as opposed to Llanowar Elves, this is a little bit like a burst of mana. And if you're not hitting your land drops, it also allows you to hit your land drops. So as a one-off that we can tutor for with survival, seems like a pretty good addition. I'm also playing a singleton Grim Lava Monster, and this card I think is going to be sick for something that I'm going to be explaining in a minute. I'm also respecting the aggro decks in the format, notably Sligh. So I'm playing 2 copies of Wall of Blossoms, not only because it's like just a random creature, which is good. Like I want to have access to creatures so I can get my survival engine going. Also, it replaces itself, so if I need to be drawing towards my removal, it helps me a little bit. And just being an 0/4 is pretty good when I'm trying to keep stuff like Jackal Pups and maybe even Goblin Lackeys if I'm on the play. Like if I'm on the play and my opponent goes turn 1 lucky, I can just play turn 2 Wall of Blossoms, and my opponent, I mean, they basically going to have to like basically use an entire power kinesis to get rid of it or something like that, which probably puts me in it. We also have 4 lightning bolts as removal, which, since I went through the 1-drops, I may as well point that out, but probably not something interesting. Now, one of the final sort of engine cards is Yavimaya Elder, and there's one Squee which we can discard to survival over and over again. Let's talk about Yavimaya Elder for a second. This is a card that can allow me to hit my land drop. It fetches 4 basic lands, so I can find mountains and forests, depending on the situation, whether I'm gonna need more green or red mana, and also just a card that I can sack for value, and you can just get it and trade, right? So it's sort of a way to hit land drops. It's a little bit of ramp. I was considering Yavimaya Granger, but I already have multiple cards that ask me for Echo, and Granger actually ramps, which is pretty solid, but I feel like this being a little bit of an, not necessarily like a full-on aggro deck, it's like a little bit of an aggro deck and a little bit of a mid-range / mana denial deck. So because of that, Yavimaya Elder felt like a card that it doesn't bring me back. If basically, like if I'm paying the Echo for the other card, for the Granger, that means that I'm probably not doing anything else on that turn. Where here, if I wanted to pay the Echo, I can just use that mana to sack the Elder, get a couple of lands, and get a brand new draw, or I can just do something else with my mana. So my Elder just gives me a lot more options with my ramp. I'm also playing one copy of Gitu Slinger. This is a fine one-off that I can go find to kill an X2 or something like that, which is probably going to be the most useful thing. I can also just go ahead and go face with it, which is pretty interesting. Color of the Claw is a one-off in case I get paired against a Wrath of God deck. This card is absolutely fantastic and allows you to... it basically lets you overextend a little bit, because as long as you have access to this card, then your opponent can tap out for a Wrath. You don't really care because you're just playing Color of the Claw and you get 4 or 5, whatever many bears into play, which really can put a lot of pressure. Spike Feeder as a one-off, as mostly a way to gain 4 life, but I can also just start moving +1/+1 counters around, which can be potentially useful. Octavia Orangutan as a way to answer artifacts, which is something that's very, very common in this format, and not only very common, but also very, very good. Nantuko Vigilante is kind of like the same thing as Orangutan, but it answers enchantments as well. It's also bigger, but it's much more expensive. So this one costs 3 to play as a morph, and then 2 to actually pay the morph cost. This is a little bit of the mana denial that this deck is trying to put together, which is just pay for mana and blow up your land straight up. This is going to be very, very useful whether your opponent is playing non-basics or not. So that's why I'm sort of helping out that side of that angle of attack with the Wastelands. But Avalanche Riders is like the main way to do that. My idea is mostly just to... this is not my main game plan, This is just like a 4 mana 2/2 haste. It's basically like Bloodbraid Elf that always Bloodbraid Elves into a Stone Rain. That's basically what Avalanche Rider is. So yeah, that's the idea. I'm also playing one copy of Anger. The idea, of course, being that you can survival for it, and it gives all of your creature haste. And this is kind of the other angle of attack that this deck has access to. Like, this is how we turn into potentially an aggro deck. 2 copies of Ravenous Bailoff, because it's just a very solid body for this format at a decent mana cost, and having access to the game 4 can be extremely relevant, particularly against decks like Sligh. The final, the top end of the deck is Genesis, which is not really a top end. It's more of a grindy card that you can tutor for and then start getting your stuff back, so you can play around counter spells and stuff like that. Deranged Hermit, like a way to go wide, and while at the same time just get a bunch of dudes and just buff them. So obviously 9 power for only 5 mana can be pretty big, and this, is going to combo really, really well with Anger. And the same is true for Siege King Commander, except that it says 5 mana for 5, but it turns your dudes into removal. So that's the creature base, that's the main deck overall. In the sideboard, I have access to Naturalize, because I want to make sure that I can blow up stuff like Humility, which we otherwise can't do, because all of my other ways of answering this kind of stuff is through creatures. Elvish Lyrist is basically a way to get rid of other enchantments that are not Humility, because it can't get rid of Humility. Spike Feeder as an extra way to, gain life. This is going to be useful, again, against aggro decks and Sligh, maybe even stuff like Goblins. Gorilla Shaman blows up artifacts versus artifact decks. This is going to be a deck that is going to be pretty mana hungry, but you can play Mox Monkey and just start blowing up 0 drops or potentially 1 or 2 drops. This is obviously very, very good against the card Phyrexian Dreadnought specifically, because you can activate it multiple times. couple of copies of Stormer Script. This is the only Graveyard Hate that I could find. Unfortunately, there's no access to Scavenging Ooze. That would be huge. It would be actually huge to have access to Scavenging Ooze in this deck, but we unfortunately can't do that, which is sad. 3 copies of Pyroblast because blue decks are pretty decent, particularly control decks are pretty good in this format. Flametongue Kavu as an extra removal spell / creature. Dwarven Miner is an interesting one. 2 mana, 1/2. You tap 3 mana, you destroy target non-basic. So against decks like lands or stuff like that, you can potentially, like, there's no loam in this format, so even decks like lands can run out of stuff. And finally, Pyrokinesis. Creature decks are very solid in this format. Elves is one of the best decks in the format, if not the actual best deck, and the same is true for Goblins, another tier 1 deck. So having access to Pyrokinesis, even though, and this is kind of like the sad thing, like I'm very, very short on actual red cards in this deck, like because the deck is mostly green. So I was definitely very skeptical about Pyrokinesis because I'm honestly not sure if this deck can actually support it, right? So I would not be surprised if I get paired against Goblins and I'm just bringing in random red cards like Gorilla Shaman and like maybe even Dwarven Miner just as red cards so I can pitch them to Pyrokinesis because that's going to be just so important. But as you can see, I really, really respect this archetype, like the creature combo or semi-combo archetype. I think it's very, very strong, and it's gonna be strong against me specifically. Like, I think that this deck can potentially struggle versus stuff like Elves that is gonna go way over the top of what I'm doing. I'm very excited to try this deck out, so I'm really looking forward to this league. If you're enjoying this content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below as well if you're enjoying it. What do you think about the deck? If you have any recommendations, I'm literally just brewing here, so I'm not really following too much of a path. Again, I took some inspiration, but like this is mostly something that I put together. So if you have any ideas, I'm very excited to hear them. And if you're digging the format, which is straight up my favorite format in Magic right now, then let me know in the comments so I can make some more Premodern content, which I'm going to be making anyway because I love this format. If you would like to support this content, you would like to see more Premodern stuff, you can do so in a couple of different ways. You can go to Patreon and you can support me over there. You can do so with just direct donations. When any donation of $30 or more, I can play any deck list of your choosing for a YouTube video or on stream. Regarding the format, I can basically pay whatever. And finally, if you would like to book coaching with me as well, you can find all the information in the description of the video down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the first round. Alright, let's get started. Well, this hand is just a masterpiece, isn't it? This hand is just a masterpiece. Jeez. I love this. Oh, this is great. Let's see what my opponent's up to over there. Basic Mountain into Jackal Pup. I think I'm gonna lead on Bird. On Llanowar Elves, sorry. So if my opponent offers the trade, I'm just gonna take it. And then I can just bolt, like next turn I can just go birds into bolt the pup. Yep. I'm gonna take opponent takes a point. We get the trade, which is pretty nice. Lava Man. Well, that's dying. That's nice and dead. We get our birdie into play. Next turn, we boink. Sulfuric Vortex. Okay. Opponent thinks they're ahead on board, huh? I'm gonna go with Basic Forest here. Gonna blow up a land. Getting there for 2. Oddly enough, I think that I'm interested in paying Echo. So it would kind of suck if we do indeed get our bird killed, but it's fine. My opponent can bolt the Avalanche Riders, but then so we are gonna pay for Echo. So yes, that's a bird, which I'm probably not gonna play. Let's get in there for 2. Yeah, I'll take that trade. I'm not gonna play out the bird right now. I'm just gonna play out Wasteland and say go. That Incinerate going at the Avalanche Rider obviously really benefits me. I would really love to draw something. So let's always heal to this Vortex here. That sucks. Alright, so I'm gonna play the Karplusan Forest, and I'm just gonna hold on to this bird because if I draw survival, I wanna make sure that my engine is as live as possible. But I am running out of time here. I am most definitely running out. Like, I don't really have that much time. Kind of have to find it right now, actually. All right. That means I'm dead. We do have access to Spike Feeder. We do have access to Elvish Lyrist. Maybe I want Naturalizes. Maybe I want FTK. Maybe I want Pyrokinesis. So I'm not even sure that the Avalanche Riders is where I want to be, actually. So let's just get rid of a couple of those. And I guess if I'm cutting those, I kind of don't want the Pyrokinesis either. So Siege Gang is fine. Probably Genesis is bad. Bolts are good. All of these are fine. I guess Color of the Claw sucks. So I'll take Genesis over Color of the Claw. Actually, Tabby Orangutan seems fine. My opponent can have Curse Scroll. Maybe Avalanche Riders is just better. And the Orangutan, like, I do have access to Naturalize, I have access to Lyrist, and I do have access to Vigilante. Now, Orangutan is just so much more money. That's actually interesting. Which way to go? Which way to go? I think I'm just gonna cut the Genesis. Maybe I should cut the Range Hermit. Okay, oh, there you go. Where were you? This hand seems a little bit too slow, though. A lot better. Keep this, and I'm gonna ship the Sligh? Sligh or Orangutan? Let's actually ship the Orangutan. So now we get to go turn 1 birds. Even whether the birds do die or not, doesn't really matter because we're gonna have access to Wall of Blossoms. And obviously the single card that I want to draw the most is Survival. This seems like a kind of hand that if I find Survival, I'm gonna be in really, really good shape. Seal of Fire, bye-bye birdie. That's fine, not too big of a deal. Let's play a wall, say go. That doesn't do anything, unfortunately. Can Wasteland the Bloodstain Mara? No, we cannot. Okay, so what to do? I think I'm just gonna play out the Rootwalla, as bad as that sounds. Man, these draws have not worked out. I'm just flooding every game. I'm flooding on the wrong colors too. Flooding on the wrong colors is kind of brutal. Alright, opponent's playing basically mono red control over there. Can I find my engine piece? No, I cannot. Just gonna... I'm not gonna play out this Sligh, right? Like, it's very important for me to have access to Sligh in my hand. In case I do eventually find the Survival. Opponent with 4 basic. That's brutal, dude. Oh, that's devastating. That really is devastating. Opponent's not doing anything, though. I wonder if they just have, like, a bunch of removal for enchantments and stuff like that. Anger? Well, here goes a 2/2 haste. Clearly not the way that I intended this deck to work out. Vortex. Okay. Kind of sucks. Here comes a 2/2. And here's even more pressure. Still not playing out this Sligh. It may be wrong. Like, we may be at a spot where maybe I'm just supposed to play out this Sligh. Maybe I should have thought about that, actually. Bolt Lightning. Opponent serves. I bolt. Take 2 down to 14. Excellent. Alright, so I'm going to actually leave Wasteland floating in case my opponent somehow has... In case they somehow have... what's his name? Price of Progress. Because I can just Wasteland itself, target itself. It's going to fizzle, but it's going to effectively save me to bolt the Elves. Okay. Definitely take that, because that's a bolt that's not going to my face. Maybe I was supposed to play out the Sligh last turn. Maybe this was just a mistake, and I was just supposed to play out the Sligh just as a random 1/1. Because that my opponent would be at... Yeah, I should have definitely played it. My opponent would be at 6 right now. That's a Bolt Lightning, which I'm going to block with everything, because the difference between... just taking the difference between like being at an even life total makes a difference because of the vortex. Dude, like Sligh would have been lethal. So here's 3 points. I'm just gonna play out the Sligh, which effectively tells my opponent, yeah, I'm actually playing survival. So this means that I have, like, these are just lethal threats, right? Sweet, they died to their own vortex. You'll love to see when that happens. Okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to cut Hermit? I'm kind of feeling the Avalanche Riders, actually. I'm kind of feeling the Avalanche Riders. They may just be better than Siege Gang. Nah, Siege Gang is gas. I think Siege Gang is just better than her. So we just go with this. This deck's kind of fun. Turn 1 Elvish Lyrist, turn 2 Wall. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this in. We can just go turn 2 Survival, but I think probably putting an 0-4 into play is more relevant. Okay. Here's a 1-1. This Grim Levimancer is probably gonna do a lot of work. And it was one of the things that I was thinking about in deck building. I was considering maybe playing more fetch lands for Grim Levimancer's purposes. Here's a Wall of Blossoms. Just a 0-4, but ooh, that's a free 1-1. You'll love to see it. So next turn we can just go fetch, survival into this card Rootwalla. Played for free. It's pretty sexy. Really want to dodge. I really want to dodge what's his name here. Yeah, there's the Vortex. It's kind of brutal. At least Wall just kind of checks the pop straight up. So I'm going to have to find an answer to the Vortex, unfortunately. Get a Forest, survival. And I think I'm actually going to go aggro on my opponent. I can go get Anger with survival. Curse Scroll. Okay. So I can blow that up with Orangutan. So it's not really that big of a deal. Survival, discard Rootwalla. I think I'm definitely going for Anger. And how do we set this up? So we can go Anger, and next turn I can discard Anger and play Orangutan and swing. Yeah, that seems good. So let's get Anger, untap, take 2. Another green source, but it cost me a pain, so I'm not gonna go for that. Survival, Anger. I could get Vigilante, but this is 5 mana to actually get going. I really want to blow that up though. Kind of sad that our Elvish Lyrist got answered. How can I win this race? How do I win this race? I can Rootwalla here? Okay. That just puts another body into play. If I can go Rootwalla into get, I guess we're gonna get Vigilante next turn. So we get Rootwalla this turn, discard Rootwalla, cast Rootwalla, and then we just play Lava Man. Now we're gonna get Vigilante to set up for next turn, play Lava Man, and I think I'm just gonna blow up the Jackal Pup. This is gonna force the action on the scroll while my opponent still has 2 cards, so they have a 50% shot at not getting there. So send with the Wallace. Now we are ahead on clock, and they have to fetch down to 10 in order to enable Curse Scroll. And next turn, like, we can just put a 4-4 into play and just serve. Incinerate Face. So if they have, what's his name, we lose. If they have Fire Blast, we lose to Fire Blast, and we beat everything else. No, we don't lose to Fire Blast, actually. We go to 2. We're gonna take 2, plus the Fire Blast. But we're presenting lethal this turn if we want to. Thanks to Baloth. Huh, that's cool. Is my opponent gonna show their hand? Like, they're just gonna Curse Scroll one of the Rootwallas or the Lava Man? This deck is sick. Alright. Rootwalla down. Rootwalla down. Fire Blast has entered the... Fire Blast has entered the revealed zone. Okay. Wow! That's insane! Wow, that's wild. So I guess we take 2 here. So we blow up the land. They can't activate Curse Scroll because they either have the land to activate it or they have a card in hand. Without cards in hand, they can't activate the scroll. So this is very interesting, actually. And we swing for 3. Opponent down to 5. Down to 3 on upkeep. I think we just got him. This is also 2 damage if I want to. Is that better? I guess it doesn't make a difference because I have foothills. That is awesome. I think we're just going to get there. How wild is it that we put, like, the anger just put so much pressure on my opponent that they were just supposed to do this. So I think what I'm going to do is... No, because even Bull Lightning doesn't do anything. But I guess I'd rather just have 2 damage instead of 1. Because it's gonna be enough. Like, I just have lethal next turn regardless. This is sick. This is absolutely sick. Like, I don't think my opponent has any draws. Even if they find Fire Blast, like, they still lose. Boom, baby! Woo! I don't know. Okay, round number 2 with green-white survival. I think I like this hand. We're obviously just looking for survival here, but like we get to play, we get to put some pressure on my opponent here, which is nice. We have some removal. We're playing against a Cyberpunker, who is a big fan of Blue-Green Madness. So I imagine we're gonna be facing some madness stuff right here. Orangutan probably not doing anything. I think I'm just sending, and if my opponent has days, we get got, but like at least that's a time walk. Okay, card plus another days. Okay, so here we, ooh, all right. Well, we're gonna sandbag that thing, I think. So I think what I want to do is I want to play Wasteland out, and I'm going to attack, and I'm gonna pump. And Cyberpunker plays Counterspell, so I'm going to play around Counterspell. I'm going to make his draw very awkward here. And another basic island. So now we're getting into Frantic Search territory. Yeah, so Frantic Search, obviously decent for him. Maybe... let me think. Because what I can do here is I can... If he plays a Naquamoeba or something like that... Oh, he plays Rootwalla. So I could bolt the Rootwalla here to keep the pressure up. But, I mean, it's not even that good. It's not even that good because I'm still... Like, he can't pump, right? Yavimaya Elder. It's pretty good. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. I think I'm just gonna play the Elder here. Ooh, no counterspell. Okay, sounds good. I don't want to trade. I think so. I think it's a fine trade, and I think he's gonna take it. But he's down on green mana. I have an Elder. He's got Squee, but that's like the 3rd turn where he hasn't used his mana, and now we get to Wasteland the Yavimaya Coast. Mongrel. So I can effectively trade this Mongrel. I can trade this Mongrel for Squee and a card in hand, but I really care about using my mana, so I think this is fine. Next turn we're gonna attack with Elder, and we can just gonna counterspell. Dace. Okay, well this is sick for me. Obviously super good for me. Because now we untap with the Foothills, a great draw. So now I get to waste basic forest, so 1 and a green, survival. Now we get to discard the Anger. I'm not going to attack now because obviously it doesn't really do anything. Let's get Squee, Wasteland, and we just chill. Next turn we crack Elder, and we find some more basic forests, and the survival engine is probably going to get there for us. More basic island. So... maybe I should have gotten Rootwalla on end step. It's close. So let's discard Squee, obviously, and I think... what do I want to do? Kind of the world is my oyster here. I think I'm going to get a Rootwalla. Let's get back Squee, see what we draw. Another card plus some forests. So I'm just going to crack Elder, get 2 basic forests, and draw a card. And we're just going to get some survival going on. And again, like every turn that goes by, like I just keep pulling further and further ahead, and he is just doing nothing, right? We know they have Squee in hand. Interesting. Well, I'm gonna... he could have double Squee, but like if he does, it's fine, right? Like it just gives me the information. Okay, so he does have double Squee, which is okay. it's just conceding. Like, why did he make it a 5/5? All right, here's a Squee, and what do I want to resolve? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I guess I can get Birds of Paradise, which are effectively free. That's kind of interesting. So every bird is effectively free mana. Let's get... We can get Genesis. Gitu Slinger effectively gives me a card. Yeah, I'm gonna get Gitu Slinger. And discard Root Wall I'm gonna get. This is gonna get... what's his name? Lava Man. Lava Man is hasty because I have my mountain. I guess that I have one more thing that I can get, so let's get Lava Man, and I'm just going to discard Orangutan so I can go get a real card. Like Veil of... Oh, we said that birds are free, so this is just like free way of developing my mana. In fact, it's actual, like, I'm filtering this basic forest into a red source, which is kind of sick. It's pretty sweet, so... Gitu Slinger. Shock you. Discarding Genesis, that's fine. Lava Man. Activate Lava Man there. And don't want to trade? I guess I do. Because I kind of don't really want to pay the Echo. Yeah, so take the trade, which is kind of whatever. Not really do anything. So you're gonna get back a couple of squeeze. So if Frantic Search is the draw, they're gonna have some good stuff going on. But if they don't find exactly Frantic Search or Careful Study, then we're gonna be pretty far ahead. That's a basic forest. That was the draw for turn, and their last card in hand is Survival, which we're gonna blow up with Nantuko or whatever. Actually, I don't even have to. I just get an Avalanche Riders. Oh, this deck is a delight. Did I just break Premodern? I think I may have broken Premodern. I think I may have just broken Premodern. Who could have thought? Spump to put on more pressure. We got Lava Man activation and end step. It's possible that it would have been, because now if they find a green source off the top, Yamimaya Coast, okay. So they do get to find something here, but like, what are they gonna do though? Aquamoeba? So end step, discard Squee. We know the last card in hand is Squee. We just derange Hermit, right? Derange Hermit is just too many blockers. Activate Grim Lava Man just because we can. Untap. We are not gonna pay the Echo. And we're going to get Squee back. And now we're just bolt that thing. Play a Derange Hermit. Boom, baby. Boom. Okay, so Pyroblast is interesting. I don't think I want Pyrokinesis. Elvish Lyris seems hot, just to blow up opposing survivals. Color of the Claw, probably not too great. Uktabi doesn't do anything whatsoever. Spike Feeder seems fine. Also one-off, like okay. I'm not super excited about it. Ooh, Flame Tonkabu seems good. Comes into play, kill your Arrogant Worm. Not bad. I really wish this format had a Scavenging Ooze kind of card. If you're playing black, you have access to Withered Wretch. But I kind of feel like Wonder may be a problem for us eventually. Unless I can just literally blow up every single one of their islands. Which would be very exciting if that happened to be a thing. But Pyroblasts are very interesting. I think I do want them. But I don't think I want them over like all of the Lightning Bolts. Naturalize is also interesting. Like I have access to 2 Naturalize effects that I can tutor for. So I probably don't want anymore. Also, it's like the only target in their entire deck, right? Gains 4 life. This also gain 4 life. Maybe Gitu Slinger is not good enough. It was pretty solid there, but I mean, as a one-off tutor target, it's just probably fine. I'm gonna cut a Wall of Blossoms and maybe the Quirion Ranger. Call it a day. Okay, what do we got here? Okay, I can work with this. I'm probably gonna go turn 1 Lava Man because I don't think I'm interested in holding a Pyroblast turn 1. Turn 1 Rootwalla. No days. Here's a Lava Man. What do you got? Basic Island. So the question now is, do I want to play around with days? And I think the answer is Probably yes. Actually, I don't think I do. So I think I just jam. And the answer is because, first of all, like I don't have my engine going just yet. And second of all, if I get rid of the days now, that means that when the FTK comes down, it's gonna resolve. 3 mana for Frantic Search. Okay. We have an interesting question next turn because, okay, that's good for me. No, no Arrogant Worm and no the other guy either. Both are good things for me. Wild Mongrel, Naturalize. Okay, that's kind of fine actually. So I'm just gonna Wasteland and just activate Lava Man. Maybe I can hold up Pyroblast. Nah, that's fine. So let's activate Lava Man, get rid of the Rootwalla. Put it down to 2 cards in hand. Survival. Okay. It's very scary. Very, very scary. But my opponent's pretty limited in the amount of things that they can do. Here's a Spike Feeder. Oh, they do have days. Okay. Well, that's kind of great for me. So now we got rid of the days, which means that they are not super likely to have another one. Having my Elder is such a sick pickup. Hopefully I don't have another days, that would be brutal. So I'm gonna swing with Lava Man, because if they want to trade for a Rootwalla, I'm kind of nothing. They have no creatures in him. Okay, good. Having Maya Coast. So that was most likely their top deck. I'm just gonna serve with Elder and pass. End step, I'm probably gonna crack this Elder to get my mana going. I'm just gonna get 1 of each basic. Ooh, okay. Probably not a good play from him to wasteland me. Also, I know that they have nothing in hand, right? So let's crack this Yavimaya Elder. Gonna fetch for Mountain Basic Forest. Draw my card. Find Avalanche Rider, dude. That's sick. All right. So here's an Avalanche Rider. Counter spell. Oh yes. Counter target spell if it is blue. Sick. We're gonna blow up the island, which makes it so my opponent's creatures don't fly anymore. Also, now if they do have access to a counter spell, those cards are just dead in hand. Can't cast it. Also, Daze is bad now. Okay, so wow, that was a sick top deck for them. Yeah, okay, so now I get punished, right? I guess not by that much. Like, they play Mongrel and I just FTK it, so it's not really that big. Which does mean that I don't want to pay Echo for these Avalanche Riders. Oh, they play out the land. Interesting. Yeah, so if he wants to activate here, they have to activate main phase. Asking Rootwalla. Okay. I think I'm actually paying for Echo here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the reason to pay for Echo is so that I can serve. And now opponent can't activate survival because while the survival trigger is on the stack, I can just shock this. Okay, so now they get super blunt. Oh, they just trade straight up? Well, that's so good for me. Wow, we're super far ahead here. We're super, super far ahead. And we're seeing the pressure from my opponent, right? Like they are really feeling the pressure that I'm putting into play, and they're taking so much damage from the coasts. And I'm probably going to kill this Rootwalla right now. Yeah, we're gonna do that. So now Rootwalla's out of the picture. They have a Mongrel in hand, not using the Wasteland, but like these Yavimaya Coasts are dealing so much damage. Literally can't use them to just running out of life points. Just hard casting a Rootwalla? Why? Oh, they messed up. I think that was just a mistake. They meant to activate survival, but they just click on the Rootwalla instead. And because both of them are exactly 1 green mana, that's unfortunate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's conveniently the perfect amount of mana right here. FTK that one. E2 Slinger that one. Oh, this deck is a masterpiece. I may have broken Modern. I think I just broke Premodern. I think I just broke Premodern, straight up. Oh, this is fun. Dude, this format is so sick. You can brew this kind of nonsense and kind of get away with it as long as you respect the the constraints of the format. This is sick. Arrogant Worm. Okay. So now they take one. They take one from the Yavimaya coast. Yeah, they just locked out. They're just locked out. So blowing up the island ended up being pretty good. Maybe I should have actually blown up the forest, but it was close. Good stuff. Okay, here we go with the next round. No green mana is rough. If we find one green source, we're good to go, but I think I'm gonna ship it. This one I'm gonna keep. And I think I'm gonna bottom this Siege Gang. Not knowing anything about my... I think I'm gonna bottom the Avalanche Riders, actually. We don't know anything about what my opponent is on. Just now that we're on the draw. This Sligh, ooh, Goblin. Lightning Bolt, or Llanowar Elf. Basic 4. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a hit, which is rough. Oh, they have the Gem Palm. Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, this game's not looking good. This game is not looking good at all. That's like the dream start for the Goblins deck. If they play something like a War Chief or a Siege Gang, I'm probably gonna be just too far behind at this point. Matron. Let's see what my opponent finds. Get a War Chief. Scary. Lightning Bolt. Okay. Which is kind of awkward. I mean, I do have more green sources than red sources, so like it's not the worst that I have to waste a bolt on a lackey, but Pile Driver. Interesting. Double Pile. I'm gonna have to bolt this lackey. Take one. Hopefully we find a green source. If we do, we get to play Yavimaya Elder. Okay, so now we get to play Elder. We trade with one of these Pile Drivers. And obviously we can't beat... There's a variety of things that we can't beat. Like we can't beat like another Gem Palm. I guess we're not in that bad shape. We can't beat a Gem Palm though. I guess Goblin King we also can't beat. Goblin King is probably just game. But I'm very happily taking this trade though. So get the Elder in there. Nice little trade. We do get our value on the way out. Let's get a basic forest and a basic mountain. What to do next turn is interesting. I think I'm just gonna go with Avalanche Riders. And I think I'm actually blowing up the mountain. Huh, interesting. So yeah. I'm just gonna blow up the mountain. We are in an awkward spot though, because I'm kind of forced to block the Pile Driver. That means the Goblin Lackey is gonna connect, and that puts the War Chief into play. But then I get to drop Siege Gang, which is pretty decent. Again, like we cannot beat Gem Palm. This card is just unbeatable for us. But actually Siege Gang doesn't do anything because of Sharpshooter. Damn, Sharpshooter is just insane here. Darigas Caldera. Wow, that's weird. That is hella weird. Caldera. This may actually just be lethal, potentially. I probably can't beat my opponent having a lackey, so I'm just gonna trade with War Chief. I can't beat them having like a big hit of the lackey. Okay, so they forgot to activate Sharpshooter. Oh, I guess they're gonna activate it now. So they do get a couple of ping. Oh, that's brutal. That misclick actually gives us a shot. Like we're actually ahead now because of that misclick. That's brutal. I mean the thing is that I'm not actually dead. Yeah, I would have been just fine. So, man, how this is awkward, right? Because like I kind of want to play it right, you know? Like obviously now we just dropped Siege Gang and we're super far ahead, but like realistically what we were gonna have to do is like we would be at 6. My opponent would have taken like 2 more activations with Sharpshooter, and then we would be bolting the Sharpshooter, and then we would be playing Spike Feeder to trade with Lackey, or I guess to trade with Pile Driver. So that was the play. Like we still were not dead. Like we actually had a very real shot at winning this game, particularly knowing that my opponent's hand is like not a Goblin, because they would have put it into play an Ancient Tomb. Like that's the information that we have. So that's a brutal misclick though. That's most definitely a brutal misclick. So I guess I'm gonna play it out, and I'm just gonna like make the better play, I guess. But it's kind of awkward, right? Like if we were playing in paper, like my opponent would have not. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna make the I'm just gonna talk to my opponent. I'm just gonna tell them that I'm gonna make the other play. Yeah, so I'm just telling my opponent that, you know, I'm just saying this to my opponent just to, let's assume that I kill the sharpshooter and I'm at 6. That seems like the best way to make sure that this is a fair game. So then what I would do is we play Spike Feeder, and we actually have a very interesting thing where we can block the pile driver, and because I'm trying to drop a siege gang next turn, I'm kind of interested in gaining some life. So that's their last card in hand, and this was their draw step. No attacks. It's pretty good. We're gonna turn this game around. We may actually just turn this game around. Siege Gang or Hermit? I think I'm gonna go Siege Gang. And the reason for that is that this allows me to Hermit next turn and then pay for Echo. So I think we are in good shape here. I'm at a virtual 12. And I'm pretty ahead on board. Again, I'm assuming that this lightning bolt does not exist, but yeah, we were able to like stabilize anyway, which is pretty cool. Okay, Goblins. So versus Goblins, we want the other Spike Feeder. Bring in them Pyrokinesis and bring that Flametone Kavu. Anything else? Not really. Color of the Claw is actually kind of interesting because we are very likely gonna be in spots where I think Avalanche Riders is pretty bad. But Color of the Claw is really interesting because I think we're gonna be in spots where, just like the match that we just played, where we're gonna be in a spot with a bunch of traits happening, and that's kind of good. Like Orangutan can go. I think I want to keep this, the 5 drops. Maybe Genesis is bad. They may be playing some like Roiling Sulfuric Vortex kind of card. So I want to hold on to the Vigilante. It's just a one-off and I can tutor for it, so I think it's reasonable. Yeah, let's go with this. We don't have that many red cards, which is a little bit problematic, but... Okay, so opponent moves to 6, and this hand looks pretty great. So we're going to be able to go turn 1, probably Elf. Turn 2, if the Elf dies, we get to play Bird on turn 2. I guess I'm probably going to play Survival on 2. Wow. Whenever a card is moved to graveyard for anywhere, exile that card. Wow. I guess that explains... Huh. Well, that makes things a little bit rougher for my poor Squee. I mean, I'm gonna play a bunch of Rootwallas instead, so it's kind of okay still. But Rishadan Port, interesting. My opponent's playing a sick version of Goblins. Like, I don't think that you wanna be porting with Gemstone Mine. Like, I'm very much okay if you want to do that, opponent. So let's stop like this. I can always activate. I can just float a man and activate Survival in main phase if I need to, so it's no big deal. So this is basically a Leyline of the Void, but fair. Interesting. So here comes Rootwalla, and I think I'm just gonna get another Rootwalla. Let's just do like a free. Well, I cut all of my land drop dudes, so that sucks. But let's get another Rootwalla. Also, Anger doesn't do anything, which sucks a little bit. Ooh, hello. It's probably not better than just Wastelining that port, right? Just gonna Wasteland that port. My opponent missed the land drop. Oh, this is a triggered ability every time. Huh. Interesting. So here goes a bird. And I guess I'm just going to attack. Maybe I should have actually attacked with Elf as well. Because I don't have Squeeze, so I can't really accrue value. Oh, I can just get Vigilante to get rid of this. This game is just over though. Just too far ahead at this point. So cast a Rootwalla. And yeah, I think we're just gonna get Vigilante. We have enough mana to like play it and activate it in the same turn. I guess they could have Pyrokinesis. They could have Pyrokinesis. Yeah. Which I guess is fine. But it changes my play. I'm just gonna grab my Elder. So I'm just gonna play Elder, make sure I hit my land drops. So yeah, so that's a card that keeps my opponent in the game, but like it doesn't really progress their game plan. They're still like super stuck on mana. Their only land, it's gonna get destroyed eventually. We're still looking extremely good here. Spike Feeder. I think I'm just gonna drop a 4/4 here. I'm gonna try to push my advantage. Just gonna push my advantage. Keep the pressure up. Lucky. Doesn't really do anything. We can just FTK this. Just discard Spike Feeder. Just Flame Tongue. Let's attack first. But I think putting a 4/2 into play is going to be pretty solid. So let's get, I guess, Red Source. Discard Spike Feeder. Get Flame Tongue Kavu. FTK. Kill that one. They could have another Pyrokinesis. They kill the Kavu and they kill the Elder. The Elder is going to trigger, because this is not a replacement effect. This is a trigger ability, unlike Leyline of the Void. Leyline of the Void would stop the my Elder trigger, but Planar Void is not. I wonder how Planar Void works against stuff like Veteran Explorer, or even worse, like Academy Rector. I wonder how it works against Academy, because I think that you have to actually exile the card in order for Rector to do anything. Okay, opponent packs it in. Yeah. 3-0. Got there after my opponent was not able to to hit a land drop after 7 turns, unfortunately. 4th match of the league. Slow hand, but I think this is reasonable. So we can go turn 1 Rootwalla, of course, because we still have Anger to get the chain going, so I'd rather get a 1/1 into play. We can also swing for 3 on turn 2, which is not the worst. Basic Island, Moxtime. Llanowar Waste. Oath. Well, we're dead. Yeah, we're just... Obviously, if I had known that we were playing against an Oath deck, I would have played differently, but this is how it goes sometimes. Let's see what my opponent's doing. Because this card on Triskelion. Okay, so they're on some sort of... well, I wish I had... Oh, there we go. So they're on sort of Brew over there. Counterspell, Latnam's Legacy. Okay, interesting. We got Thoth going on. Gaia's Blessing. Double Deed. No land drop, though. Can I? Huh. I think I have to chill here. Still don't know what my opponent's up to, because I doubt that it's full English breakfast. So they're gonna... I think what's gonna happen now is they're gonna ping me a couple of times, and then the last ping is gonna go out at Triskelion. So basically they're getting 2, yeah, they're getting 2 free points damage. They do get to trigger Rootwalla once again. So now we get to see a little bit more of what they're up to. Now they get a Phantom Nishoba, which is significantly harder to beat. So this is just like a Noth deck. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can beat the Nishoba. Maybe I can. At least I get to see more of their deck, I guess. So it's gonna go the Nishoba. This is effectively going to like take a counter of it, which is fine. Now we get to use Slinger to block. It's not great, but so I imagine we're gonna see most of their deck. They also have a Chroma. Okay, that's kind of sick. All right, that looked strong. So let's bring in those Naturalizes, Elvish Lyrist, Pyroblasts, and that's it. Goblin Shaman. Oh, Tormod's Crypt. So these are all the cards that I'm interested in, which, yeah, it's a lot. So let's get that out. Let's get that out. I think Avalanche Rider is probably fine. Orangutan seems good. Color of the Claw out. Slinger out. Lava Man out. Lightning Bolts out. I guess I don't care about the walls. So we can play something else instead of walls. What can it be? Genesis, I guess? Maybe... What? Siege Gang, I guess. I really don't want to play Siege Gang, so I guess I'd rather just have it. No, Wall is just so bad. I guess Spike Feeder, because it can basically kill itself if I need to. Pyrokinesis doesn't do anything. Cabo doesn't do anything. Miner doesn't do anything. I think it's just gonna be Siege Gang, because my goal is gonna be to basically not play creatures unless I have removal for Oath, or I have a way to like haste, basically. So I can go turn 1 Elf, turn 2 Survival. Okay. Really gonna need to find some lands here, but I'm gonna hope that my opponent doesn't have a Mox Diamond draw again. But this hand does a lot of things, which I like. That's rough. I'm really gonna need to find a land. So one is basically just blue-green. They have Oath again. It's kind of brutal. So Naturalize is my best draw, I guess. Not quite Naturalize. Let's discard Root Wall. I'm just gonna find a bird. Like obviously, like I can't hear, right? Oh, I guess I can get. Oh yeah, this is sick. We can get Korean Ranger. We cast Ranger and tap the Elf. Replay, and now we have. Now we can play. We can find the bird. Whoops, no, not what I want to do. All right, please whiff. Next turn we're gonna have a decent amount of mana, so I can go get Elvish Lyrist, and if I find a basic mountain, how do I beat Phantom Show though? So find a basic mountain, green, survival, orangutan, get Sligh, green, survival, Sligh. We're gonna get Lyrist. Where is it? Elvish Lyrist. On tap, and we're just gonna hope that they don't have counterspell this turn, which they do. Arcane Denial. Well, that sucks. There goes my plan. Can I win anymore now? I can buff the Root Walla, but I don't think that does anything. Man, turn 2 Oath 2 games in a row is rough. This matchup seems really bad. This matchup seems really bad for me. See what my opponent finds here. A Chroma. Not looking great. Can I beat this in any way, shape, or form? Pro red, pro black. Can't race it because it has vigilance. Yeah, I don't think I can beat a Chroma. Alright. GG's. Yeah. Maybe I should have mulliganed for a hand that has an answer to Oath. I don't know. But yeah, that deck looked sick though. It's a lot of colors, but I don't know how I feel about the counter spell. I don't know how I feel about the counter spell Llanowar Wastes deck. That's the only thing I'm a little bit skeptical about. But that deck looked really good. Very impressed. Very impressive. All right, for the last match of this league, we're playing against Hall of Famer Olerad. I never knew how to pronounce his name, but he likes playing Elves. I think this hand is okay against Elves. Like, we have 2 pieces of removal. Would love to have access to like Nantuko Vigilante. That would mean that, you know, we can just play it as a morph on turn 3 and kind of go from there. Well, that's dying. That is so that it ain't even funny. Maybe I should let that survive just because I can kill a Priest of Titania. Survival turn 2, okay. Got no place here, so yeah, this is what I was saying in terms of really wanting to have access to something. Now Sligh is gonna be a problem. Basically allowing Ollie to effectively draw 2 cards a turn. Okay. Queer and Ranger. It doesn't really do anything here. So I think I'm just gonna flash in Color of the Claw on my opponent's end step. We're not in great shape. He fetches for Mountain and step. That's good though. The fact that he did fetch for the Mountain, it's kind of good because now he's gonna get Anger, just so his dudes are hasty. But now if I find what's his name? Yeah, Anger hasn't revealed cards on. So now he can discard Anger. I mean, the same thing that we have going on ourselves, right? And now all of his dudes are hasty, but now I can actually Avalanche Riders the Mountain, and that blanks the Anger, because the Elves deck only plays exactly 1 Mountain. So he discards the Anger, plays Priest. There's the Priest. 1 card in his hand is Sligh. Cradle is very scary, of course. Discard Sligh. The Elves deck is quite brutal. So now Priest is gonna make 2 mana. Please attack. Yes! Yes! Surprise! Oh yeah. Yep. Flash 2-2, baby. No Avalanche Riders. Very unlucky on my part. No Avalanche Riders. I just have to kill this thing, right? I don't really have a choice. So we're gonna Guido Slinger that. Play Crayon Ranger. And I don't think I'm paying Econ next turn. But I have to try to bottleneck him on mana. Because sure, he's gonna be drawing a bunch of cards, but I really need to find an Avalanche Rider. That's the thing here. If I find an Avalanche Riders, I think I'm gonna be good. Because I get to blow up the mountain and then he's just playing... Like, he basically just has to untap, right? Before he can get anything going. There's Priest. We're most certainly not paying Echo. And... that sucks. What do we do? I could play Wall of Blossoms to dig one deeper. Well, I'm attacking with both of these, because Crayon Ranger is not really doing anything for me here. So I can drop a 4/4. I'm sure, I mean, he can obviously bounce the Priest, but if he bounces the Priest, that actually costs him a mana from Cradle, and then he actually has to cast a Priest. I think I'm gonna try to play the Wall, which is pretty mana inefficient. But I can find a removal spell, I can find survival myself, or I can just find another land. Okay, pass the turn. It's not great. And it feels like this match we're so close to getting a hang of it. I mean, obviously, I imagine our game 1 matches were going to be disadvantaged because they are doing exactly the same thing that we are, but they're just so much better at doing it because they go so over the top. That's kind of what the Elves deck does. But post sideboard, I am respecting this with a bunch of pyrokinesis. So I imagine that our sideboard is going to be much better. So I'm going to be bringing in pyrokinesis, going to be bringing in Dwarven Miner, Flametongue Kavu, Elvish Lyrist, multiple Naturalizes. Because like if we had gotten rid of the survival at any point, that would have also been enough, right? Just getting rid of survival would have been enough. Getting rid of... oh, he's playing 2 Hermits. That's messed up. That's a lot of squirrels. That's an engine. Yeah. So this may just be lethal, actually. Second survival. Is this lethal? It's not quite lethal, but it's pretty close. So at this point, obviously, we can't do anything. We're just dead. Whoa. Untap squirrel. Yeah. Too late. Okay, so we want Dwarven Miner, FTK, Pyrokinesis, Elvish Lyrist, and Naturalizes. These are the things that we want. What do we not want? Color of the Claw, Spike Feeder, Wall of Blossoms. What else? Avalanche Rider seems fine. Octavia Orangutan. They play Tanglewire, but I mean, I have Naturalizes already. I don't think I want to go too overboard with answers to Tanglewire specifically. That's not the card that I'm the most scared of. Genesis can probably go. Maybe cut a Baloth. And what? Yeah, be my Elder. Maybe I can just cut the Hermit. Just go with this. On the play. Yeah. We got Pyrokinesis, which is obviously sick. We have multiple answers to my opponent's survivals. This hand looks fine. Mold to 5 from my opponent. I'm gonna let them overextend these Pyrokinesis. I'm gonna just take my time here. And if I find another green source, then we're gonna be in pretty good shape. Priests. So what I'm thinking of doing here... am I gonna get greedy? I think I'm just gonna get greedy. I think I'm gonna... how do I get punished? If my opponent plays exactly... what's his name here? Wirewood Symbiote. That's fine. I mean, that's gonna save the Priest, which is kind of annoying, but... Elvish Champ, sure. Okay, so... discard Siege Gang. Get Squee. Discard Squee. What do we want to get? So whatever we're getting here is getting exiled. So I think I'm just going to get an Avalanche Riders. And now a Pyrokinesis. I deal 2 here, 1 here, 1 here. And my opponent's going to either save the Elvish Champion or the Priest, but they can't save both. I imagine they're going to save the Elvish Champion. And then we can kill it with Flame FTK or something else. Yeah. So they do save the Champion. That means Priest and Symbiote are dead. We take 1, and we're looking pretty good here. Sligh comes back. Our engine is online. Is there anything I want to do now? Because I can go get Anger. Yeah, so I can go get Anger and just get Anger, activate, discard Anger. And we can get Lava Man. Play a Lava Man there. Pass the turn. Next turn we can basically play Line of Elves for free. There's the champion. Yep. Just get FTK. Discard Sligh. Get Flame Tongue Kavu. And this should look it up. Pew. Alright, sick. Yeah, this Pyrokinesis card is decent. This Pyrokinesis card is alright. Okay, so now we're on the draw. Now we are on the draw. Do we want to change anything? And of note, I don't think Goblins Riders is too good, but like we just saw how just having any random red card is great with Pyrokinesis, with this card being such an important part of my game plan. So these are here as the least bad red cards that I have access to. But yeah, one thing that I think I'm gonna try to do, is one of these Pyrokinesis is gonna turn into Goblin Sharpshooter. Don't think I want Orangutan, Spike Feeder. Yeah, I think we just submit the same. Ooh, turn 1 bird. I like this hand. Turn 1 bird, Wasteland, Yavimaya Elder. So if we find survival here, we're gonna be in really good shape. We're gonna lead on Bird of Paradise. I may play Elder on 2, still unclear. No blocks. Good attack. Good attack with that symbiote. There's the Priest, very scary. Siege Gan. Do I play Elder or do I play Grim? The problem is if I play Grim, I don't really do anything, so I think I'm just gonna play Elder. So now opponent can't attack. Well, Tiny Sacrolite. So this is like the Premodern version of well, this exact same engine in Legacy. It's pretty cool. Korean Ranger, now they're gonna untap, bounce Acolyte, untap Priest. They're gonna be doing some stuff on some things here. It's gonna be up to 4 mana. Play Finhorn Elves for free. So I need to find Pyrokinesis. Is the only way that I can win this game now. Pyrokinesis or bust. Jesus. It's kind of cool that they can just pay for all the upkeeps. This Priest of Satan is just like, yeah, can just pay all the upkeeps. No big deal. Just casual draw 4. Don't mind me. Just the casual draw 4. This is turn 3. Honestly, this feels like one of the decks that looks the most similar to a Legacy deck. Because all the other Premodern decks look quite different. Like they don't look at all like decks in other formats. They are all their own thing. Mostly because a bunch of those cards are just banned, right? So, yeah, I've seen enough here. I can't beat this. That's kind of brutal. But yeah, so to finish the thought, a bunch of the decks in Premodern have like their own unique thing. And the Elves deck is the only one that is doing something very similar to what the Legacy Elves deck is doing. With some differences, right? Obviously, you are doing some cool things with Priest of Titania as opposed to just, you know, like going Glimpse and drawing your entire deck, or even like the newest Legacy techs, which are the Fiend Artisan stuff, but yeah. Alrighty, so this deck worked out much better than I was expecting, to be honest. Like, it did kind of do its thing, and when it did its thing, it was actually quite powerful. A couple of changes that I would consider, obviously, are what I was saying about adding Goblin Sharpshooter. That seems like a fantastic survival target. Besides that, I would consider stuff like Wall of Roots. Maybe a split between Wall of Roots and Wall of Blossoms is where I want to be. Korean Ranger seemed decent in theory, but it did not end up working out. Like, my idea for Korean Ranger was like, yeah, of course, like you can, you know, get back. Basically, it helps you hit your land drop, right? Because you bounce the force and then you replay it. And then, look, it works well with your Mana Dorks. It works well with Grim Lavamancer, allowing you for multiple activations in the same turn. In practice, it felt like a little bit awkward. Like every time I drew it, it's like, yeah, I just much rather have drawn another Llanowar elf. So maybe the idea of Quirn Ranger is just bad, and I should be playing like, I mean, technically it's correct for me to play Finhorn elves for meddling mage and cabal therapy purposes, but like you get the idea. Besides that, the engine was very, very strong. I really like having access to such a powerful engine. The Avalanche Riders were surprisingly good. Like I feel like even in this match against Elves, right? Like if I had drawn Avalanche Riders in game one, like it would have been a completely different story, because my opponents at that point just basically playing something and then hoping that they untap before they are able to do anything at all. And instead they were just able to, you know, survival everything with haste and completely destroy me. But so Avalanche Riders felt pretty decent. I think this is where I want to be. Color of the Claw and Octavio Orangutan, like we just did not play against the matchups where these cards are good. They're probably still worth including in the main deck. The big deal is whether to play Yavimaya Elder or the Granger. The Yavimaya Granger is one that actually puts the land into play tapped. Let me see if I can find it so I can show it real quick. But this is like the cards that the Elves deck plays, and it's a little bit slower but faster at the same time, if you know what I mean. Like it actually only gets you one land, but it gets into you, like it actually ramps you. While Elder does not really ramp you, it just gets you the card advantage, and you can sack it to draw a card and, you know, sort of use it to get a little bit of value there and like dig deeper into your deck. But Granger actually ramps, so maybe there's, I don't know, maybe there's an idea, there's a way to just go 2-1 maybe and split the difference. But yeah, I was happily impressed by the deck. Obviously this was my very first draft, so lots of, you know, mistakes here. Even probably there might have been some mistakes in gameplay as well. Like I obviously it's my very first time playing the deck, so I'm very surprised if no mistakes happened. But as a starting place, this felt quite strong. Like it felt like I was doing something. Like it didn't feel like I was just playing a deck that was significantly worse than whatever everybody else was playing. So that gives me hope that maybe there's a place to go with this. And I mean, that's just the strength of survival. Like this is far and away the best card in the format in my opinion. I guess not far and away, because there's Gush, like there are some really busted cards, Oath. But this is, in my opinion, the best card, and it can allow for decks like this to exist. Which, yeah, even if this is not like an archetype or like a known archetype, this could be if enough tuning happened, and then you ended up with an actual solid, well-built deck. But this felt like a good starting point. I will for sure be working on this in the future. And yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe button if you enjoy the content. Leave me a comment down below if you're enjoying Premodern even just half as much as I am right now. And if you would like to support my channel, you can do so through Patreon. You can do so by making a donation. I can play any decks of your choosing in a YouTube video or live on stream if that's what you prefer. And finally, if you would like to book coaching sessions with me, you can find all of the information for any of that in the description of the video down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, folks. Take care and bye-bye.